Hi, I'm here today with Sharon Boone of Amber Moon Studios. We're going to be discussing Yoga Appreciation Month, which is June for the Amber Moon Studio. So hi, Sharon, how are you doing?
I'm good, Karen. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. So today we're going to talk about some Viniyoga. Why did you decide to start doing Viniyoga versus a different style?
Because I got invited to teach a certification that was styled in Viniyoga. I was doing fitness certifications at the time through a company called AFA, and they were launching this new certification that was a Viniyoga style. It wasn't called that, but that's what its basic principle was. So when I went to get trained on this, I'm like, hey, this is really cool. I like this. So I'm learning yoga and I'm learning Viniyoga. So it's really the only style I've ever done. But it also works on taking those non-traditional poses and making them fit people. So if you look at a lot of the asanas, they are designed for, average person. They're a measure of human potential, something you can get to. You may never get there, but they don't necessarily serve everybody. So Viniyoga takes them and changes the biomechanics a little bit and how you do them, what their emphasis is, what your intention is, so that you can get the most out of what you need. So that's why I started Viniyoga. It fit well with all the rehab emphasis stuff that I was doing.
Okay, that's great. So the difference between the Viniyoga is and traditional yoga is the individualized?
It is individualized. It is adapting the asana to serve the person. And even within an asana, we can look at like primary, secondary, tertiary intentions and change that based on the needs of the person. So it becomes a completely different asana from maybe the way they've traditionally done it, which wasn't really serving them, or maybe that was an uncomfortable pose and they didn't know why until we really looked at what's going on. And what do they need from the pose so that they can move forward and improve and get better, stronger, more flexible. And by the way, yoga is not about flexibility.
So what have you personally gotten out of learning this style and practicing it regularly?
From this style, so when I started the training and then teaching of this certification, I was actually in chronic pain. So I ended up going and taking the 500-hour training for it because I really liked it. And it was actually here in Austin, Texas, which is how I ended up moving here. But through the 2 years that this 500-hour training was, I actually got out of chronic pain. And that was through the consistent practice of asanas that were appropriate for me. So part of our homework was we had to design a practice for you. And mine was the same thing every day, because that's what my body needed. That's what it needed. And we had Pinto. So doing that for 6 months, the same practice every day, really was key to doing that. And again, that's part of it. So even though I'm doing the same asana, because I'm a different person and I may change the breathing or the timing on the way I do it, it's not the same practice every day. So the asana was what I needed, and then I modified. So that was really key, and I think fundamental in my understanding of what Viniyoga was. So getting me out of chronic pain was huge. I still had flare-ups for another 5 years, I'm sure, after that. But yeah, that was big. That really was big. That's what I got out of it.
That's a great thing to get out of it.
Yeah, it is.
Love for it and teaching it to others.
Right, and teaching it for me is a Viniyoga practice. When I normally am teaching in person, I don't do the class. I'm there as their guide, because otherwise they're going to compete with me and they're going to look and see how I do it. I don't want them to see how I'm doing it because I adapt it for me. I've got issues, so they need to adapt it for them, and then I'll go around and adjust or give them suggestions as we're doing it. Online, it's a little bit different these days, since I am doing the practice more and it's harder to see the participants, but still I know who's there, I know what their issues are, so I can still adapt and modify classes for my participants. And they get to see me, they pretty much know my cueing, so My back went out for a little bit. So for about 4 weeks, a month, I wasn't doing the practices. They were still fine. They just need to hear me. Every now and then they need to see me if I do something different. So it's really nice to be able to have that foundation with your clients.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about your classes, how does the Viniyoga fit into everything that you do, all of the classes that you do?
Everything is influenced by all my knowledge. And this is 30 years of knowledge. So I bring in, okay, let's look at what's my primary, secondary, and tertiary intention. Maybe I'm doing it with a Pilates client. Maybe I'm doing it with one of my triathletes. And how do we adapt what you're doing to get you where you want to go? So philosophically, that foundation is there from yoga, so that it can really serve the client. Because if you're just running and it's not serving you, you're not getting faster, everything's always hurting, something needs to change. So again, go back to the foundation. What's going on? How do we adapt running for you? So it really crosses over. And even in my yoga Pilates classes, you'll feel the influence of yoga sometimes. And in my yoga classes, you'll feel the influence of Pilates. So it's always there. I mean, everything is kind of jumbled at this point. The nice definition of Viniyoga is an appropriate application. So I can draw in from all of these things and bring it into a class. So it's quite nice, I think.
Yeah, it makes a well-rounded experience.
Yes. And it's not quite so yoga-y that people that aren't into yoga don't like it.
Yeah, great. So is there anything else you'd like to add as we are celebrating Yoga Appreciation Month?
So Viniyoga is a little different than most classes, than most styles. So give it a little bit longer to try it and figure it out. It's not for everybody, just like my Pilates class or everything else I do I'm not for everybody. But it takes a little bit to figure out how am I doing it differently than the way you're used to being taught. So give yourself a chance. So we're going to be posting 1 video a week at least, so you can enjoy it. Those are from my YouTube channel. But then come try a real class and see what really works for you. See how that feels to be different. And then just, again, go in with an open mind, forget the yoga that you know, come in as if you've never done it.
Wonderful. Well, we're so excited to get started on this month and maybe get some new folks in, and
yes,
everybody comes by and checks out one of the Amber Moon Viniyoga classes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope so too. Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.